My name is Ashley Thatcher, and I am an estate planning attorney. This webinar is on demand because we know that you're a busy professional juggling a lot. Today's session is called You're Not Too Young for an Estate Plan, What Every Young Professional Should Know. Now, before we dive in, just a couple quick housekeeping notes. You may see a few poll questions pop up. Your answers are completely private. No one else will see them but us. It's just a way for us to get to know you. Also, if you have a question at any point, feel free to drop it in the chat box. You'll get a response from our office within 24 hours. Or if you need a faster answer, give us a call and we're happy to help. My motto is when it comes to your estate, don't leave it up to fate. And that's truly the heart of why we're here today. Let's be honest, estate planning probably isn't at the top of your to-do list. Maybe you've thought, I don't own a house yet, or I don't have kids, or that's something I'll do later in life. But the truth is, 74% of adults under 40 have no estate plan in place. And yet, 100% of us are vulnerable to unexpected events. Accidents, medical emergencies, and life changes don't wait for you to hit a certain age. If you're here watching, you're already doing more than most. You're being proactive, and that's a huge step. Without a plan, your loved ones could face major financial burdens, legal headaches, on top of the emotional stress that they're already dealing with. This isn't about how much money you have. It's about making sure you decide what happens in a crisis, not the court system. You might be thinking, okay, but what does this have to do with me right now? The answer is a lot. If you were suddenly hospitalized and couldn't speak for yourself, who would make your medical decisions? Would your parents or partner even legally be allowed to? Not necessarily. Without legal authority, even the people closest to you could face major obstacles. This isn't just about death. It's about what happens if you get sick, injured, or incapacitated. That's why estate planning is really life planning. There's also your digital life. Think about your banking apps, email, social media, cryptocurrency. Without a plan, all of that could get locked away forever. What if you travel or work abroad and something happened while you're away? International legal issues could add another layer of complexity that's hard to untangle without proper planning. Even things as simple as owning a car, having a pet, or contributing to a 401k mean that you already have an estate. The question is whether it's protected and planned for or not. One thing that I always remind clients is this. If you're old enough to have a job, a bank account, or a pet, you're old enough to need a plan. Now let's talk about the core building blocks of an estate plan. These 4 documents that you see on the screen are essential, even if you don't own a home or have a large savings account. The first one is the last will and testament. It tells the world what you want to happen to your assets and who's in charge. It also allows you to name a guardian, whether that be for pets or kids. A living will makes your end of life care wishes clear so that your family doesn't have to guess. A healthcare surrogate form gives someone you trust the legal right to make medical decisions on your behalf if you were unable to make them on your own. And a power of attorney allows someone to step in and handle your finances. That can mean paying your bills, managing accounts, speaking to the bank. These are all more than just legal documents. They're your voice when you can't speak, your plan when life doesn't go as planned, and your protection when things are out of your control. As the quote says, the best time to plan was yesterday, but the next best time is today. So what actually happens if you skip all this stuff? Well, the state has a plan for you, but you might not like it. If you don't have legal documents in place, a judge will decide who handles your finances and who gets to make your healthcare decisions. And unfortunately, that might not be the person that you would choose. Your family could face lengthy court processes, delays in accessing your money, and costs that could drain your estate, even for basic needs like your care. It also makes things very public. Probate is a court-supervised process, and in Florida, it's not quick. Private information becomes part of the public record, and that's something that a lot of people don't realize. One of the hardest conversations that I have is with families who are grieving and then have to deal with red tape and court delays in the probate process. A plan is one of the greatest gifts that you can leave your loved ones. So where do you start if you're just getting going in life? Well, first, take a look at your beneficiary designations. This could be on your 401k, life insurance, or bank accounts. Think of any financial account you have and make sure that someone is listed as a beneficiary. Having a beneficiary designated on the account avoids the probate process, so make sure that they're up to date. Next, think about your digital life. We recommend creating a list of online accounts and passwords or using some sort of password manager. Including instructions for how you want these assets handled is also very helpful because your digital footprint is also part of your legacy. Finally, don't put off those core documents that we talked about. Even a simple will or a basic durable power of attorney is so much better than having nothing. You can always update and expand as your life evolves. Your estate plan doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be done. So don't let decision paralysis stop you from beginning the process. Just a reminder to stay tuned until the end. Our surprise for viewers is coming up soon. Okay, let me tell you a little bit about Peter. Peter is 28 years old. He has a solid tech job, rents an apartment, has a rescue dog, and is very active on social media. He's a pretty average 28-year-old. Well, Peter ends up in a serious car accident. He's unconscious in the hospital and can't communicate. His parents, well, they live far away, and they called the hospital to try to get information on Peter. But because Peter never had a healthcare surrogate naming them, legally they have no authority to have access to his medical information. They also can't get into any of his accounts to pay his rent or care for his dog because they never had a power of attorney. That is stress and heartbreak on top of worry and fear that they feel for Peter. Peter's recovery was made so much harder by legal and financial chaos that could have been avoided with a few simple documents. Peter's story is fictional, but it's based on countless real clients that we've seen over the years. These situations happen more often than you'd think, and it's one that we see way too often. Let's answer a few FAQs that I know are probably on your mind. We also have a few handouts available that summarize these points, so you'll receive all of those after the webinar. Okay, so the first FAQ is, how much does estate planning cost? Well, you might not like the answer, but it depends on your situation. Whether you're single or married, whether you're a homeowner, have kids, and so on. How often should I update my plan? Well, we recommend after any major life changes. So that could mean marriage, having a kid, getting a divorce, a new job. Just make sure that you're at least looking at your plan every 3 to 5 years. Can I use an online service to create my own will online? Well, you can, and those options exist, but be very cautious. Many of the DIY services aren't Florida specific and they fail to meet basic legal standards. A lot of the times they're executed improperly, which means that they could be thrown out in court as if that person didn't have a will at all. What if I already named beneficiaries? So that's a great first start, but it's not inclusive of the whole plan. What if you're incapacitated? What about your pets? What if your accounts change and you open new accounts? Your plan should be cohesive, not just pieced together. So here's what you can do today to take control of your future. The first one is schedule a consultation. Give our office a call. Start by meeting with one of the attorneys in our office, where we'll create a personalized plan that fits your goals, your assets, and your life stage. We'll then help you sign and make sure everything is properly executed. And then you'll get to walk away with peace of mind, knowing that your loved ones won't be left guessing or struggling. Our office also offers free annual reviews because we know that life changes and your plan should always evolve with it.